Happy New Year! Obviously, it's not January 1st, but it's our first episode of the year, so we figured we'll start with a New Year's dish for our first episode in our good luck year, 2026, Year of the Horse. 2026, 2 and 6 add up to 8, and 8 is my lucky number. My friend Brian, my producer at the theater, he says it's going to be such a great year, it's going to give us whiplash. Let's move into 2026 with great luck, hope, and joy. This is a very old good luck meal, and it's called HOPPIN JOHN. Did you ever hear of HOPPIN JOHN? Southern fans are like, yeah. But Northern fans and people from other countries may not know what HOPPIN JOHN is. Now, what is HOPPIN JOHN? In our case, black-eyed peas, smoked pork, and rice. Now, the thing is, beans are good luck. Now, why are beans good luck? They're good luck because they're seeds. So, essentially, you're planting hope. You're planting seeds. You should eat this on New Year's Day for good luck. And then if you eat it the day after New Year's Day, apparently Lynn discovered it's called Skippin' Jenny, which I never heard of. So you can prolong your good luck by eating it on January 2nd. So you know that like January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th thing, where you're like climbing the hill and, well, this is the kind of dish that will help you through that beginning of your slog back to the dumbest season of all, summer. Listen, I love summer too, but it's a good way to get out of the doldrums. Let's make HOPPIN JOHN. Beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure Nick will tell you underneath here. But beans do make you fart, but they're just great. They're, first of all, if you're vegetarian, they're combined with rice, it's a very good source of protein. They don't obviously have any cholesterol because they don't have any animal product in them. It's just a good meal. Another thing about HOPPIN JOHN is that in some traditions, you're supposed to leave 3 beans from your serving on your plate to ensure good luck for the rest of the year. And also there's another thing where you're supposed to count how many beans you got, and the person with the most beans, which is cute, I think, has the most luck for that year at the table. We are going to soak some beans overnight. These are black-eyed peas. First of all, I'm just going to rinse them quickly underwater, and then I'm going to soak them overnight. Why are they called black-eyed peas? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. These are dried beans. You can get them really anywhere. There's construction. They're out there hanging out the window without any harness on. So let's hope all we hear is the sound of the drill. I'm going to rinse these. I'm just doing like this. Sometimes they have a little, almost like papers, like some of the husk. Sometimes there's little tiny stones, which shows you, in a way, how wholesome it is. I don't know why, but that seems wholesome to me. But anyway, here are my beans. Here's my pot of water. Literally, this is what you do. Nikki just informed us that he loves soaking beans. He said, I love soaking beans. I put the beans in, I like to soak the beans overnight. These are extremely dry. This is just the beginning of rehydrating them. So they just go in water submerged. And then you soak these overnight. But I forgot to do that. So we're going to use these. Now, these are cooked. So this dish is going to be really easy because these are cooked. I am going to rinse these because I'm sure that they put a little bit of flavoring, and I want it to be only my flavoring. Let's see what they have here. Yeah, they have salt and stuff in it, which I don't want. So I'm gonna rinse those kind of like we rinsed the beans that I forgot to soak. I love black-eyed peas. They do have a pea-like quality. Running water through them. I'm tempted to eat these because I love black-eyed peas, but you know, they do give you gas. These are cooked. So you have to be aware when you're heating them, don't overcook these because they'll explode. and it'll become sort of mashed pea mush, which you don't want. One of the things in Hoppin' John or Skippin' Jenny is smoked ham hock or smoked ham or bacon. Because I forgot not only to soak the beans overnight, but I also forgot to buy any of the groceries. And then when I went out today before the crew set up, I could not find a ham hock. So we are going to use not bacon, but pancetta. And it's that pancetta that I can't recommend more highly to you guys. It's already cubed. So I use this for coq au vin, for anything that requires lardons or something. You don't have to cut this. It's already ready. Let's say you had a little bit of a party and you wanted to make Hoppin' John. Am I making this simple enough? Hoppin' John is a traditional Southern dish through African descent. So we're going to begin by making the Southern version of mirepoix. Now, the Southern United States, specifically Eastern, use something called the Trinity. Now, mirepoix is carrots, celery, and onion. The Trinity is green pepper or red pepper, onion, and celery. Shall we do it? Let's Hoppin' John to it. So this is washed celery. I love celery, but the first thing we're gonna do is this. You wanna pull those. The most underused herb, in my opinion, is celery tops. I love celery tops. You're supposed to serve this with collard greens for extra luck. And I forgot to buy collard greens. That's a great green. I'm gonna use kind of the celery tops in there also. So it's my version of Hoppin' John. I love celery. And you know what? I've never had a celery soda. Does celery soda taste like celery?
Yeah.
Maybe I should try that. Instead of cutting this in half and doing the slices, I'm gonna make the slices slightly big. So see how these are a little toothsome? That's kind of what I want. It's quite thick. This recipe came into my life through the first cookbook I ever owned as an adult, which was the hippie cookbook, the Moosewood cookbook. Moosewood was like pre-Martha Stewart. This is really early. The Moosewood cookbook, I believe, was completely vegetarian. And their version was obviously vegetarian. And I'm gonna show you their version also, because it's a cool variation that you can do. Saving the tops, the glorious tops. Green pepper. Everybody's got a concept of how you're supposed to do this. In this case, I'm gonna cut it and clean it this way. You don't want this. And you don't want too much white. You just want kind of that. This is a rustic dish. You don't have to worry about your knife skills or anything, okay? Cut sort of thickish strips like that, and then we're gonna cut these down. I'm not doing the French way, which is resting the knife on the cutting board. Now, real Hoppin' John people are probably like, what are you doing? So sorry, real Hoppin' John people. Now, I'm gonna use a shallot, just because I'm a shallot person. Now, I'm gonna cut this in half moons. I'm not gonna make this small because we want big flavor. Cut like this. Like semi-thick. I like that rustic look though. I'm thinking of the beans on the rice with these cooked, you know, very beautiful. Good sharp knife, no tears, see that? How do you not cry when you cut onions? First of all, don't think about the state of the world. Number two, use a sharp knife. There's our Trinity. I've used kind of a Dutch oven. This is so beautiful. I got this, I went to a party at Franchette, which is run by the same people who run Heaven on Earth, Le Vaudor. At Franchette, they had a party for Le Creuset. They had this incredible color, which I've never seen again. I think this is stunning. Hot pan, olive oil. Have ready something to drain the crispy bacon, or if you're doing the ham hock, it's a different story. It's a whole production. Basically, you have to look that up. Ham hocks are feet. It's the ankle part, and sometimes some of the hoof. I couldn't find one. A little bit of olive oil. The amount of time you save not having to cut. For me, this is just like a miraculous thing. We want to cook this until it's a little bit crispy. Now, you can put a little garlic in this. What I did was I took a clove of garlic and smashed it with the side of a knife to release the garlicness. I'm going to put the entire thing in, and then I'm going to fish it out. Did you hear that the Oscars are moving to YouTube? What the hell, man? Any show that has an award called Best Picture, it's already absurd. Best Picture, really? Best Director. That's a very, very big statement. You could say great direction for this year. Best Director, that's a problem.
Maybe if they all directed the same movie.
Yeah, exactly. So Adam said if they all directed the same movie, then you could pick who directed that movie best. But to say that somebody that directed a brilliant romantic comedy isn't as good as somebody who directed the politically charged action movie or whatever, that's weird. I'm crisping it. I want it to be a little bit hard. Now, I'm not going to clean this pan. I'm going to fry the Trinity in this oil, this grease. And I'm heating up I have some rice I made here. That's just our regular rice, or Reggie's rice, as we like to say. All right, I'm liking the look of this. Turn this down, and I'm going to drain this. Hoppin' John, ba-na-na-na-na-na. Here's my crushed garlic. Here's my Trinity. Cook this down, it already looks delicious to me. When I make the vegetarian version, there's obviously gonna be a little bit of pancetta in the bottom of the pan. But what do you use to make it? Smoked mozzarella. And I'll cut some of this up and show you in a separate dish how you would utilize this. If you ever go downtown and at night at the big sort of outlet places where the restaurants buy food, I have seen them smoking mozzarella on filthy sticks over, no joke, trash fires. This, however, is from Murray's, and they smoke it in the back. But back in the day, 14th Street, which is now the hip meatpacking district, right, used to be the meatpacking district. And if you watch American Psycho, masterpiece, you'll see what it used to look like. There was a very, very famous club down there called Jackie's 60 on Tuesdays, I believe. When you left Jackie's 60, you were literally in the meatpacking district, you know, with the huge sides of beef and the guys in the coats, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning and smoke coming out of the manholes. You know, it was amazing. Now it's like Hermes is down there. Dior, Chanel. The most horrifying thing that's happened to New York is Hudson Yards. Have you been inside Hudson Yards? Listen, obviously I'm a New Yorker. I'm not a snob. I can swing in any jungle. That's not the issue. The issue is a horrifying mall does not belong on the west side of Manhattan. And it's a horrifying mall. Adam agrees. That's beautiful, isn't it? I'm sure it's supposed to be more brunoise, but I kind of like the way this looks. With the beans, you know, it's gonna be rustic and lovely. And very, very good nutrition. If you look it up, it's like something like 25, 30 grams of protein or something. That's a good meal. Needs a little bit of salt. There's other traditions that you're supposed to, I think you're supposed to leave a piece of the protein at the bottom of the pot to perpetuate the luck throughout the year. You can eat it with cornbread because it's gold, like gold. If you really want to learn more about Southeast, basically American food traditions, please check out Edna Lewis. She's, first of all, an American legend and brought Southern cooking, you know, into the general population to start making these very historically rich meals, dishes, celebrations. And in the books on Southern cooking, and there's other taste of country cooking, I have several of her books. She's a great writer. She writes stories about when they would eat it, what her life was like, and then she tells you how to make it. It's great. I think her books are like almost like MFK Fisher, who's one of the great food writers of all time. She didn't really write recipes, but there's some cookbook authors who are also great writers, and she's one of them. Edna Lewis. The stories are great. Okay, this is fantastically moving along. I love the way that looks. And I'm just gonna make sure it's soft. Turning it down. Why? Because our beans are cooked. I'm gonna put our beans in. Oh, no, make sure you have your eye on that garlic. Now, I'm literally heating them through. I mean, I'm a Yankee, except my mother's family's from Virginia. It looks beautiful to me. I'm sure Edna Lewis is spinning in her grave, but if it looks good and it's wholesome and delicious, it doesn't matter if it's exactly right, correct? I'm just gonna heat this through and then I'm gonna plate up a plate of Hoppin' John. How many beans do you get? Enough to be lucky for the whole year. That's my dream for everybody. I just want to spread goodwill with beans. In case you have any vegetarian friends, it melts a little bit and it's kind of amazing. Obviously ham hock, pork, or bacon is great too. But I'm just gonna cut a little bit of this to make a small plate. So I'm just making little pieces. Buy slightly firm mozzarella so you can cut it. And now I'm gonna plate up. This is just rice with a little bit of green peppercorns and salt and pepper. Oh boy, I can feel that good luck. I think you're supposed to put a bean under the rice, I forgot. Hoppin' John, does whatever a Hoppin' John does. I'm throwing some celery leaves, not stalks, just leaves, almost like a herbal garnish. And you serve this with some stewed down collard greens. You'll have a friend for life. And good luck for all year. These are our crispy pancetta. I mean, I don't know, guys. Can you go wrong with this? Harpy Naryak. Let me show you the vegetarian version. You're gonna put a little bit of rice. I'm just using a small bowl because I'm just demonstrating this to you. And you're gonna put your beans on top, same way. And then you're gonna kind of, in this case, I might mix it in a little bit, guys, because I don't want the mozzarella so exposed like that. And it slightly melts. Putting celery leaves on there. Happy New Year. Good luck. All right, Adam, we're gonna taste the Hoppin' Johns. I'm gonna taste the vegetarian one.
All right.
I have a little bit of hot sauce, but I'm gonna put mine in the very corner. You can't use any. All right, here we go. Really good. Mm-hmm. Wow. Crunchy parts. That hot sauce is freaking hot. I didn't realize. Do you feel lucky, Adam?
I feel so lucky. Happy New Year indeed.
And good fortune in 2026. Keep eating, one more bite. That's the bite that's gonna bring you luck.
No complaining.
Hit the room.
Yeah.
From Dinner Party Tonight, we wanna wish you guys good fortune starting right now. From the second you watch this, you're gonna have good luck. We can't thank you enough for watching our show, for writing to us, for helping with the Christmas episode, for everything you've done for us. If you feel like it, hit the buttons, bells, and whistles, and we will see you very soon for more amazing, crazy, weird, covered up mistakes and huge successes of Dinner Party Tonight in 2026. We love you, thank you. Happy New Year. Good luck.